Welcome back to Bleach Anime Review, episode 31. We're reviewing the the 20th episode of Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War, which is also the 386th episode of the series. I am the Edge. This episode adapts from, get this, 8 straight chapters with very little change. Like, you ever heard of an anime where they adapt that many chapters for one single episode and make very little changes? Like, normally they would screw this up. But nope, they did not. So, we start off with basically, we have the pink-haired lieutenant from Squad 11. What was her name? Yachiro, yes. Where she's taking on Granda Lee. Where, like, oh, you can't see me, where's your mind? And she keeps hitting him, but she keeps getting wounded by him. And then she's like, okay, I can sense where you are. Because hair tingling stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's something candy. Kapachi. Then she proceeds to walk up to a crate and get her Zanpakuto. Which, here's a fun fact about this character. Prior to this very episode, that sword has never been drawn once the entire series. This is the first time it's ever been drawn. Like, in the previous episode that she has appeared in, she's never drawn this damn thing. And here she is. She draws it, and it's a copycat sword. Basically, she can reflex up, basically, back at people. Of course, she beats up Gemi, Granda, and, well, kind of way. Then the fight is interrupted by the real person from the Quincy's, who is his real name. His is Grammy Thomas. Granda Lee is the one who's the old man. Yep, and then of course he tries to take her on, and then like everything's all hunky dory. Is like, of course she's like, we do as captain, leave it alone. Oh, I've already killed these captains already. Somehow. Then, of course, Kapachi shows up smashing the frickin' ceiling. Yes, seriously. Yeah, and once again, he's still voiced by Patrick Stultz. Now, I have heard the reason why that he stepped down from this role. Apparently, it was due to a legal dispute with Viz Media. That's the reason why he stopped doing this role, was because of a legal dispute. And, of course, that was the original voice actor was David Lodge, who did a great job voicing him. But the thing with Patrick Stultz, I enjoy his voice acting, I really do. But he made this character a lot more... This is just my honest opinion about this interpretation of Kapachi, is that he's more bloodthirsty than he normally was. Now, I think also David Lodge also portrayed him as sort of like a much more older than the guy that he actually is. Here, he just portrays him like a normal guy. So basically, Gemi's whole thing is all about his imagination. Yeah, thinking of the song from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Pure imagination. Which, fun fact, I actually had to sing that song. I actually had to sing. It was one of the songs I had to sing at basically a music cow type of thing. Now, apparently, my choir director did not know where the song came from. And I looked up, oh, this is the song Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not the Johnny Depp one, the original from the 70s. Which, here's a fun fact about those two movies. I actually saw the original movie before the remake came out. Long before. I saw it back in the 90s. Awesome movie that one is. Sadly put, the guy who played Willy Wonka himself, Gene Wilder, passed away in... I think it was like 2016 he passed away, because that was the year it seemed like almost every single major celebrity kept dying. Like crazy. But that's here and there. So, yeah, and of course you have Kapachi take him on. And by the way, before Kapachi shows up, he turns Yorichi's bones into cookies. And if you're curious, was this a change from the manga? No, he did the same exact thing in the manga. Yeah, and of course Kapachi has no idea what a cookie is. And it's like, oh, that's what you mean. Okay, let's see before. And it tells his lieutenant basically to leave. Then, of course, basically, like, By the way, the two captains, when he basically grows this giant-sized stone tower, and of course, basically these two captains fall off. Though, by the way, there's this really cool thing which I'm glad they kept this in the manga. When the lieutenant from Squad 4 sees them, it's like, and he informs her that Urakawa is dead, and she's like, oh, if you killed her, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, in effect, she's become a new captain of the squad because of the previous captain's death. Yeah, by default. Not because basically she was appointed to the role, but by default she's named new captain. And I'm going to spoil this once this arc wraps up, which by the way she does survive this arc. When she becomes a fully recognized captain, she appoints her sister, the I think it was co-third seat from Squad 13, as her lieutenant. Now here's the thing. The only time basically was ever brought up these two were related was in the Bleach episode. Yeah, because the anime prior and after that never meant these two were related. I mean, the only way these two, here's the thing. The way how these two sisters, simple, the faces are very similar. Like, but you're thinking, wait, all of the characters' faces are very similar because it's tied to Kubo. Well, they're siblings. Well, from that, and of course, Yurichi follows through. Kapachi saves her, and of course, she turned back to normal. Though she gets healed, and she disappears. And he takes him on a really cool battle sequence, which cost him his freaking coat. Yeah. By the way, Kapachi does not wear a shirt. Not really. Well, kind of. So, he loses most of his coat. And it was joking, I think it was in a previous episode of Virtual Bleach, that you burn that coat, you have to pay for it. Yes, pay for apparently the captain's coats are expensive. And here's the thing about Kapachi, about him, is captain's coat. He does not wear it with sleeves. He hates sleeves. His whole thing, he basically wants to be free. He doesn't mind the cap position per se. And the thing is, he's actually the first person to become captain, to explain the series, without achieving Bankai. Yeah, he was the only captain that achieved it, but in this arc he does achieve his Bankai. Why in the world they wait to the final arc to do this? I have no idea. This is one of the most strangest things that happen here. Well, that's after Kubo for you, and a lot of stuff related to this series was a bit rushed, but that was not his fault. That was his editor's fault. And the fact also Tete Kubo was suffering from a torn rotator cuff when he was writing this arc. Though he's perfectly fine now, he's serving as supervisor for the series. Then pretty much basically battles him for quite a while. Then eventually finally beats him. And then it's revealed apparently that the person who's seeing the whole episode is not the real guy. Apparently he's a brain in the jar. Yeah. And then this guy is never seen in the manga. But apparently it's revealed in the light novels that his brain was retrieved by one of the Soul Society nobles, who decided to briefly revive and fight Kapachi again. Yeah, I have no idea why the heck the writer of these light novels did this for, but I think those light novels I think it's quite interesting, and they also expand upon this guy's connection to like the whole world of Bleach, and also the fact he has a connection to the Soul King. Yep, but not much I'm gonna say this episode. I thought this episode was really good, and I'm surprised they gave everything in for adapting 8 freaking chapters. Mostly put its chapters 571 to 578, and the first, I think this is the first 9 pages of 579. So with this very episode, you think, okay, my guess is they have just about 100 chapters left to go. And that's indeed true. And you think, okay, how many episodes left for this core? Because basically it's supposed to be 13 episodes. There is a whopping 6 left. And then we're done. Okay? So yeah, that's a particular you probably curious, where's Mr. Demon Camera review? Not coming this week because the episode is not like here's the thing. There is a dub for Mr. Demon Camera episode 7, but no English dub. There is the Japanese dub, there is the French dub, but no English dub. I do not know why in the world it's like this for, but it is. I think it's kind of weird. Like the last series of this happened with Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen was Martial Magic and Muscles. Maybe have to wait before the thing releases in English. Now I have heard also that the core for that one, apparently this is resumption of core 1, which is going to be 12 episodes. We're going to be halfway through already. So but by the way, I think in Japan they have 2 more episodes left to go in Japan to air, and then there'll be this core, and then when core comes back, apparently core 2 is only going to be 5 episodes. Yes, 5. So this is going to be a 17 episode season. That one. Yep. But Bleach, once its cores, I think there's 2 more cores left, and that's it. So, excuse me. It looks like for next week, they're going to be just wrapping up some chapters, just going a little bit forward. Yeah, well, like, I think it was like, there's like one chapter, they have to finish up one chapter. They go through some of these chapters. One chapter, they didn't only finish adapting a whole chapter. Like, they skip over the first 6 pages. And another chapter, they go for chapter pages 8 to 17. You're probably thinking, when do they start adapting this one? Well, as for the next one, it basically be the first half of the next, like basically the rest of those last two for next week's episode will be adapted for the following week's episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for particular view. So that's gonna be it for videos tonight because sadly I have more time. So tomorrow, expect to see videos for One Piece, Eden Zero, Case Closed, maybe Comic Corner 2. You're probably thinking, when am I get back Devil's Part-Timer? When I finish up basically reading Skeleton in the World Book 10, which I'm reading right now, and the second book for Devil's Part-Timer. Okay, next video. Bye.